Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba says the best way for his nation to return to negotiations with Russia is by pushing the invading forces out. And he adds that President Vladimir Putin's regime would need to approach the discussions in good faith. He spoke exclusively with CNA's Dmytro on the sidelines of the ASEAN Summit in Cambodia that took place over the weekend as Ukraine celebrated its success in retaking the city of Kherson.
The city of Kherson was the first and only major urban hub to fall after Russia invaded Ukraine, and it remained the Putin regime's biggest military achievement since the start of the war. So its fall is a major setback for Russia after a string of losses elsewhere in Ukraine. The Ukrainians are now hoping to liberate the rest of the embattled country. Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba suggested to CNA that the prospect of meaningful talks with Russia remains distant.
We think that the only way to return to negotiations with Russia is to make them go. They have to get out of Ukraine, as simple as that, and to approach negotiations in good faith, not from the perspective of ultimatums, but to handle negotiations in good faith. As of now, this is not the case. They are speaking about negotiations and playing nice and fluffy with their left hand, and they are pulling the trigger with their right hand, targeting everything from Ukrainian energy infrastructure to a civilian with his hands tied behind his back. This is not how you behave when you want negotiations.
Mr. Kuleba also responded to questions about reports the US is pressuring Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to engage in peace talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
No one is pressuring us to engage in any talks. We respect and appreciate the support that the United States and other countries of the world are extending to Ukraine. But they all know one rule. It's impossible to put pressure on President Zelensky. It's impossible to put pressure on the people of Ukraine.
Mr. Kuleba is urging Russia not to weaponize food and block shipments of Ukrainian grain to the global market.
By using grain as a leverage, they are playing with lives of people in Asia, in Africa, who suffer from high food prices, who suffer from hunger, like in Somalia, Ethiopia, Yemen, other countries. And it's very cynical. It's very cynical that you put lives of hundreds of thousands and millions of people at stake simply because you want to cynically pursue your national interests in a war against Ukraine. And this is why I continuously call on Russia to stop playing Hunger Games with the world.
This is the first time that Ukraine was invited to the ASEAN Summit, and while in Phnom Penh, Mr. Kuleba signed the Treaty on Amity and Cooperation in Southeast Asia. This is a peace pact among Southeast Asian countries established by ASEAN founding members. And Mr. Kuleba said developing strong ties with ASEAN is among significant components of his country's Asia strategy.
Because I believe in Asia, because my president believes that there should be no blank spots on the map of the world for my country, for Ukraine. And our concept is very simple. Ukrainian interests are everywhere. All you have to do is to find them. And Asia has traditionally been a very important partner for us.
This despite the fact that ASEAN does not have a unified position on Russia's invasion of Ukraine. In October, 3 members abstained from a UN General Assembly vote to condemn Russia's attempts to annex additional regions of Ukraine. Dmytro, CNA, Phnom Penh.